What's up, y'all? I'm out here at the range, as you can see back behind me, on what's turned out to be a hot day out here. Temperature's not terrible right now. It's a little bit above 80, but this sun up on this ridge right here really ramps things up. So it's a hot and steamy swamp out here right now. I've been getting out here so early lately that my shade tree over here don't even kick in before I'm gone out of here. So that ain't doing me a bit of good. Luckily, this is the last test of the day for me, and it's some new kid on the block 9mm. So the jelly contraption's out here trying to stay cool for one more test with a couple of chronos and 2 blocks of gel. Now I've done a couple of tests. Things got a little weird on this stuff, but as you can see, this entire front half is clear, and pretty much this whole front half here is clear. So I shouldn't have any problem getting this one where we need it to be. Of course, I've got my heavy clothing barrier up front that's got the layer of denim, fleece, and 2 layers of cotton t-shirt. And what we got for this one is some more of that brand new Fiocchi Covert X. This time it's the 9mm. Now y'all know actually one of these tests here was the 380 of this Covert X stuff right here. In my opinion, that stuff ain't worth picking up. It did okay from the longer barrel, my EZ, but it just did absolutely pathetically terrible from the Bodyguard 2.0. So as far as I'm concerned, again, that stuff ain't for me. Now what we got here is the 9mm version, so it's a heavier round. This one's 124 grain, supposed to be moving 1115 feet per second at the muzzle. Now y'all know me, again, I like my stuff hot and spicy, so this right here wouldn't be hot enough for me, but if it works well, I mean, it's plenty good enough to get the job done. Here's a look at your cartridge. Again, nice nickel plated case with this proprietary projectile, nice internal serrations on it, they claim. Now they talk this thing up big time, talking about a new standard for self-defense, optimized for short barrels, controlled expansion, all kinds of jazz. But in the case of that Bodyguard 2.0, none of that was true. So hopefully we'll see a different story here with the 9mm. Now, as always, I've got a couple of different barrel lengths here we're going to try them in. For the short one, I've got my Canik Mete MC9 with the 3.1 inch barrel, and then we've got the full size G17 here with the 4.5 inch. So this should be a pretty interesting one to end out the day. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried about the performance of this just based on what we've seen from the 380, but maybe it'll surprise me. Let's get all this stuff set up and see what happens. All right, let's see what kind of numbers we actually get from this stuff, y'all. I'm gonna do a 5-round average, starting with the MC9 first. Now remember, they're saying 1115 at the muzzle. You will see multiple readings from this lab radar. Your large number is right here at the muzzle, and then you've got 5 across the bottom. The first one there is set for 3 yards, which is roughly where the gel is here at 10 feet. And then I've got the other set for 10, 15, 25, and 50 yards. 1115, it didn't have any barrel length. I'm assuming it's probably longer than both of what we got out here, just based on what that 380 test did. Let's see how close we actually get. 1105, that's actually pretty close. 1116, that exceeded it. 1094, 1086, and 1089. So we had a couple of hot rods in there, but most of them just a little bit under that 1115. Let's check out the average. All right, our 5-round average right there was 1098 feet per second. We had an extreme spread of 30 with a 12.4 standard deviation. So not bad on the consistency, a little bit off there towards the end, a little bit in the middle. We actually had one that jumped up to 1116, so that's probably got our spread kind of big. 1098, I mean, it's a 124 grain projectile. These should do okay though. There's really no excuse for these not performing and not expanding like they're supposed to, but let's get it reset and see what the longer barrel does. All right, let's get these 5 through this G17 before I absolutely melt out here under this sun. Whew, that breeze feels good. But 1115, I feel pretty confident we're gonna see it now after seeing that right there at the MC9. 1201, 1212, 1194, 1205, that one sounded weird, and 1211, so definitely exceeded the 1115 by a good bit right there. Let's check out the average. All right, that one right there actually wasn't too bad at all. We had a 5-round average of 1204 feet per second, which is pretty good for a 124. Extreme spread was 18 with a 7.5 standard deviation, so very nice consistency right here. Nice velocity and energy for a standard pressure 124. That's more like what I expected to see. Now, granted, that MC9 was a lot closer as far as being short short barrel than the 380 was. Again, I'm going back to that 380. That was pathetic. Out of the short barrel, which is what I consider short for 380, 2 3/4 inch barrel, it was terrible. So glad to see this, the velocity at least is up to speed even through the short barrel in the 9mm. So 1204 right here, and if you remember out that shorty, it was 1,098. So you talking about 106 feet per second difference. That's a big difference right there, and that's plenty to make a significant performance difference in the gel. That being said, I think we're still where we need to be with that MC9 to get some good performance. It's really going to depend on these projectiles, and if you remember out the 380, if you hadn't watched that, these projectiles actually look like they could really be nice if they're pushed hard enough. So hopefully in this case they are. Let's get this stuff reset, and y'all know what time it is. All right, y'all, it's undercover jelly time. We'll put one from each barrel length into the gel, starting with this MC9 first. This one is definitely going to set the stage for what we can expect from the G17. All right, hopefully that one stayed in. I see something a little weird. Let me go check it out. All right, y'all, false alarm there. I seen where I pulled one of the projectiles from a previous test. That looks absolutely fantastic from the MC9, so I expect this to look really nice as well. I'm glad to see some good performance to end out the day. All right, that should have been another good one. I'm not sure where it hit. Let me go check these out. All right, y'all, I had to relocate us over here to the shade to check these things out. That sun is about to absolutely melt me. That one down there, I did put it a little lower than I wanted for sure, but it stayed completely out of the bottom all the way up to here, and it just barely it really didn't even smack into the bottom hard. It just kind of deflected it just because of the travel down there. I feel completely confident that these are valid results, and it's basically what I expected to see. So we'll go from the top here first. This is the one from the MC9, comes in here very nice disruption for what this thing is, all the way through the channel here, all the way through this first block. Really nice disruption. Travels into the second block probably 1.5 to 2 inches, and from what I can see, you've got some really nice expansion on it. And then that one down there at the bottom, obviously that's from the G17, pretty much the same deal. Now the disruption looks a little bit different, but I always try to say don't put too much stock in what you're looking at in the gel here. It can just look different. It's just the way it is, y'all. It's just the way it is. You really need to be concerned about the energy, the penetration, and the expansion. Obviously shot placement #1, but those three things is what really matters. Comes in here, immediate expansion, no doubt about it. Travels on through this block. Now it starts curving down and kind of veers off the bottom right there. So off the bottom, keeps on trucking into the second block, nearly identical as far as the penetration. You may have went a 1/2 inch further, a 1/2 inch shorter, but I don't think that had really any bearing on the penetration, because I expected both of these to be about the same, and they really are pretty much the same. And as far as expansion, same deal there. Really nice expansion. Now, as far as the penetration on them, the one up top here from the MC9, you're at exactly 17 3/4 inches, so absolutely perfect right there on that. And then the G17 down on the bottom, I mean, you're right there at 18 inches. So pretty much identical on the penetration, and very nice from both of them. And then here's your close-up look. Definitely a fancier looking disruptor from the MC9. As you can see, very nice all the way through this first block, travels into the second block, and looks like some nice expansion. And then if we come back down there at the bottom, that's the G17. You can see it stays off completely until about there. It had already done its thing by then. Keeps on trucking again into the second block, and there you see the projectile. Looking from the top, pretty much the same story. You can see the MC9 close, G17 down there at the bottom. You can see where it bounces off there. Keeps on trucking, and there you see the projectiles. All right, let's check out these projectiles, y'all. Really nice looking from both of these right here. Much more expansion than we got from the 380. This one right here is the MC9. This is the G17. You can definitely see a difference. I don't know how well it'll come through in camera, but the G17 is noticeably more expansion. Not anything dramatic, but you can actually see down in the bottom on this G17 The MC9 you can't. Now, once again, I have to mention these look very, very similar to a V-crown projectile. These are proprietary. I don't know if Fiocchi makes these in-house or if somebody makes them for them, but they look really, really similar to a V-crown, close to an HST, but more like the V-crowns. But either way, very nice expansion. You can see this G17, those pedals all the way down to the base, and the MC9 not far off. So really, really nice performance from both of these. But let's see if we held on to all the weight. I suspect we probably did. They started at 124. This one from the MC9 is at 123.8, so maybe a crumb loss, but maybe manufacturing tolerances. And then this one from the G17 is exactly 124.0, so really nice weight retention from those. And then for the sizes on them, we'll do the MC9 here first. They're going to be very, very close. You got 5.58 and 5.55, so really nice, very even expansion there. And then this one from the G17, you got 5.74 and 5.89, so a few thousandths bigger right there, but both of them incredibly nice, even expansion. And there you go, y'all, the Fiocchi Covert X, this time in 9mm. Totally different story right here. I think both of these did a great job out of both barrel lengths. So this is what I expected from the 380. This is what we should have gotten from the 380. There's no excuse. All those needed was just a little bit more energy, but these right here, I guess, made up for it. Now, that's no consolation to somebody carrying 380, but if you're out there looking for some 9mm and you can get these right here at a pretty good deal, I'd say go for it, because these right here look to be some pretty good performers. All right, y'all, it's always nice to see some good performing ammo to end out the day of testing. I'm kind of extra glad that this one performed well after the 380 was half and half, and the fact that I've got plenty of other calibers. I got the 45, the 38, and the 357, so that gives me a little more hope for those. The other one I'm kind of worried about, though, is the 45. You're talking about a 230 grain projectile, so maybe these projectiles are very, very nice, and the bigger one in the 45 will help it do what it needs to do. But as far as these 9mm, I think we got great performance from both of these barrel lengths. Again, for standard pressure 9, the energy was nice. You got fantastic penetration, fantastic expansion. Really, you can't ask for a whole lot more out of just standard 124 grain standard pressure 9mm. But let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Any of y'all out there picked any of this Covert X up yet in 9mm or some other caliber? What do you think about the performance out here from it today? Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. Once again, a reminder, if you're doing some shopping, hit up those affiliate links I've got in the video description. Lots of good stuff down there, and anything you pick up helps the channel, so I really do appreciate that. Huge thanks to all my Range Gang members and every single one of y'all for supporting the channel. I've got tons more really good stuff on the way, so make sure you stay on the lookout for that. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see you soon.